Hello everyone, welcome to the training today. My name is Alvin. I'm from the PMS marketing department. So today I would like to introduce our VETA file to all of you. Today's instruction including three parts. So the first part I will introduce the parameters of the VETA file. Second part I will introduce how to prepare the VETA file for the daily surgery. The third part I will introduce the ventilation mode and some operations on the VETA file. So let's start. First, let's see the front panel of the VETA file. You can see here is the 8-inch capacity touchscreen, which means you can use your finger to do the operation, to touch on the screen to do the operations. Then beside the touchscreen, we can see there's the rotate knob. You can also use it to do the selection of the item and then click it to confirm the selection and do the operations. Here is the button for the power. You can click it to turn on the unit. And beside the power button, there's the two indicators, one for the battery, another one for the AC power. And here is the press gauge. We can see there's the green area inside. This press gauge is used when you are using the gas cylinder or pipeline gas supplied. So when the indicator fall within the green area, that means the pressure range, the pressure from the pipeline or the gas cylinder is sufficient. So you can use it to do the operation on the VETA file. Beside the press gauge, there's the gas flow meter. You can use this knob to rotate it to increase or decrease the gas flow. Beside the gas flow meter, there's the vaporizer. So VETA file can support to have isofluorine or sevofluorine vaporizer. So this one is the sevofluorine. And here you can see this is the pool fill sevofluorine. You can just turn on this knob to tighten and then to pull to refill the anesthetic gas by this way. So beside this area, we can see there's the bottom for the O2 flask bottom. This O2 flask bottom can just fulfill the bellows or the manual back of the VETA file. Beside the O2 flask bottom, there's the switch for the ACGO, the auxiliary common gas outlet. So you can see this port for the ACGO. You can switch it on or off by this switch. Okay, then we come to the breathing circuit part. So this is the integrated breathing circuit for VETA file. I will introduce those items on the breathing circuit one by one. First, let's see these two track valves. You can see from the outside that if there's any condensate water stay in the track valve, or we can see the movement of the track valve when the VETA file start the ventilations. If there's condensate water inside or after the surgery, you want to do the cleaning or disinfection of the track valve, you can take out the track valve by this way and then to do the cleaning or disinfections. And then we got two ports here. So this one is for the inspiration port, this one for the expiration port. And here's the linkage test plug. So when you do the linkage test, you need to plug the Y-piece tube to here for the linkage test. Beside the linkage test plug, there's the manual back port, just to connect the manual back to it, and then you can do the use the manual back to deliver the gas to the animal. So below the manual back, below the breathing circuit, we can see here is the solder line canister. So you can rotate this CO2 canister to take it out to fulfill the CO2 solder line into the solder line canister, and then put it back to finish the replace of the solder line. Okay, then let's see the other part on the important part on the breathing circuit. So here is the switch for you to switch between the mechanical ventilation and manual ventilations. When you switch the bottom to this way, you are using the barrel to deliver the gas to the animal, which means you are using the ventilator to deliver gas to the animal. When you switch this button to the menu back side, that means you are using the menu bag to deliver gas to the animal. And here is the Apl valve. As you can see, the range for the Apl valve is from the minimum to 70 centimeter H2O. So you can use the Apl valve to set the pressure limit of the breathing circuit. Here is the press gauge. You can use the press gauge to monitor the pressure inside the airway. Then let's come to the barrel housing and barrels part. So this one is the small barrel and barrel housing. As you can see from this remark, so the range is from 50 to 300 milliliters. And it's dedicated for the animal's body weight lower than 30 kilograms. Then we have another barrel housing, the big one. You can see from this remark, from 300 to 1,500, which means this barrel housing can be used for the animal's body weight higher than 30 kilograms and to 150 kilograms. So both of these two barrel housing and barrel is the standard configurations. So when you purchase the VETA, you can have both. Then we come to the backside introduction of the VETA. So on the top, we can see there's a 3 connector. So this connector just for connect the waste gas absorber to the VETA. Just let the VETA to detect if the waste gas absorber is already installed. Then we have the USB port for export the data from the VETA to the USB. This is a network port just for the upgrade the software of the VETA. Then let's come to this part. So there are 2 ports. So this port is for the O2 supply. You can connect the pipeline gas supply or gas cylinder to this port. And there's 2 standards. This is the DIS standard. And in order to show everyone about another standard, we are using another kind of the connector or adapter just to show of you. So this is the NIST. This is NIST. So when you order the VETA, you need to just tell us about the standard of your regions. Then we can select the standard of this connector for you. Of course, we have the pipeline tube to come with the VETA together. So you can use this pipeline tube to connect the pipeline connector on the machines. Yeah. Or if you are using the oxygen concentrator, we provide the oxygen concentrator adapter to use with the pipeline connector, just like this. And today we are using the adapter just to connect the oxygen to the VETA to do the demo when we do the instructions. Just like this, so you can finish the connect for the oxygen concentrator to the VETA. And there's another port beside the pipeline connector. So this is the HESS port. So it is used to connect the passive waste gas to send the gas to just to export the waste gas to outside of the operating room. Or you can use the adapter to connect the HESS port to the waste gas absorber. Then you can just fill the waste gas inside the absorber and make sure there's clean air or clean gas to go out of the machines. So this is the early introduction of the appearance of VETA. So next, let's go to the part about how to prepare the VETA for the daily surgery. Okay, next let's start the instruction for the daily surgery preparation for the VETA file. So before the daily surgery, we need to confirm if the power socket of the VETA file already connected well, the gas supply connected to the VETA file already connected well. Today, because we are using oxygen concentrator for the demo or for the training, so I already connect the oxygen concentrator to the VETA file. And we also need to confirm for the HSS tube already connected to the HSS port. And then we need to confirm if the Y-piece tube already connected to the linkage test plug and the manual bag already installed well. Barrel housing and barrel already installed well. And of course, we need to confirm if the anesthetic agents already fulfill the vaporizers. After all those things confirmed, then we turn on the machines. At the same time, I need to turn on the oxygen concentrator, so we can hear the sounds of the oxygen concentrator. So we need to wait for the VETA file start. After the VETA file started, we can see there's the two linkage tests we need to perform. First is the auto circuit linkage test. On the screen, you can see the instruction how to perform the linkage test. First, seal the Y-piece as shown, as we can see from the pictures. So we plug the Y-piece tube to the linkage test plug, and then set the auto manual switch to auto projections, as we can see from here. And then adjust the flow meter to 0. Press the O2 flush button, completely fulfill the barrels. Okay, after that, we click continue to perform the linkage test. And the system can perform the linkage test by itself. So the whole procedure is 30 seconds. Okay, after the linkage test, there's the perform message on the screen, just tell you the linkage test passed. And also you can see the compliance test result on the screen, because the system will do the linkage test, linkage compensation and compliance compensation during the ventilation, just to make sure that the preset tidal volume can be delivered to the animals. And after the auto circuit linkage test, then we switch to the manual circuit linkage test. We click continue, then we can see there's the prompt message display on the screen. First, let's adjust the Apl valve to 30 cm H2O. Then set the auto manual switch to the manual projections. Install the manual bag to the connect manual bag to the manual bag port. Then press the O2 flush button until the airway press gauge value is between 15 to 25 cm H2O. So let's do it. Because I'm using the O2 concentrator, so it's a little bit slow. Okay, we can see the press gauge is increasing. Okay, and then we adjust, then we click continue to finish, to start the linkage test on the manual circuit. And the time is the same as the auto circuit link test. It takes about 30 seconds. Okay, the manual circuit linkage test passed. So after the linkage test finished, it's very important that we need to adjust the Apl valve to the mini projections. just make sure that in case if you forget to connect the pipeline gas or the gas cylinder to supply the gas to the machine, and then you connect the animal to the machine, then the animal still can do the spontaneous breathing by himself, because after you adjust Apl valve to mini projection, which means the breathing circuit already connected to the air. Okay, then we can click standby, enter the normal screen. Then we finished the preparation for the daily surgery. Okay, next let's start the instruction for the operation and ventilation mode on VETA. On this part, I will introduce the operation, just how to do the setting on the screen of VETA, and also we introduce how to set the ventilation mode on VETA and how to use them. So let's start. On the screen, first, as you can see from the left to the right on the top part, first, this is the countdown time. Or no, it's just the time for the total surgery time. So the system will calculate how many time you used during the surgery. Then you can see the current mode. After you switch to different mode, just like the manual ventilations, Vcv, Pcv, VS mode, then this part will just display which mode you are using. In the middle is the alarm area, so it's dedicated for the alarm generated by the VETA, including the physiological and technical alarms. Then we see this button, this for the menu. You can click this part by enter the menu. Then you can see here, first, this is the general setting for the VETA. You can modify the tidal volume, divide the body weight of the animal. I mean, just like the how much milliliters per kilogram. So normally we set to 10 milliliter per kilogram. Then we can see the brightness setting and the key volume setting of the VETA. And here is for the waste gas absorber settings. So by this menu, after you placed the waste gas absorber on the absorber weighting tray, you can just click the 0 to zero the weighting tray, and then set. For example, after you connect the absorber to the system, here this button can be activated. Then you can set how much grams after the waste gas absorber reached. Then the system just give the prompt message to tell you need to replace the waste gas absorber. And here is the menu to export the data to the USB. You can export all the recording data to the USB and then to copy to the computer. And then this is the time display, and also including the battery display here, just tell you how much battery left. And also if you connect the AC main power, you can see there's the power code icon on it. And here is on the right side of the screen, we can see 4 buttons. The first button is for audio pause. So the countdown time is 2 minutes. After you press this button, if there's any alarm happens, the system will enter the alarm pause status. Only if there's a new alarm generated, then this status will exist to the line again. And then this is the alarm setup. You can press this button to enter the alarm setup menu. First menu is for the setting for minute volumes, the press peak, and the tidal volume and respiration rate. You can adjust the alarm limit according to the real situations. Of course, if you think all the adjustment is not suitable, and you want to load the default setting, you can just click this button. Then the system will just restore the default setting for the alarm. Then you can click this button to set the alarm sound, and then this activate. This is the alarm. You can see, for example, if you want to see the detail of the alarm, you can click here. Then you can see the detail of the alarm or the record of the historic alarm. And then we have the inspiration hold here. So this inspiration hold just for the animal who has the long-term surgery. And after long-term surgery, because some alveoli of the alarm will be collapsed, so you can use the inspiration hold just to deliver more gas to the animal to open those collapsed alveoli. And here's the button to start the case, because if you want to start the ventilation to the animal, you can click this button. Yeah, then you can enter the normal ventilation mode. And on the left side of the screen, we can see the leak test. So if you want to enter the leak test, you can click this button. Then you can perform the leak test by this way. And under the urgent situations, you want to do the surgery for the animal, you can just skip the linkage test and directly to enter the normal display and to start the ventilation to the animal. But after the urgent surgery finished, if you want to perform the linkage test, you can press this button to do the linkage test. Okay, after I finish the instruction for the upper part, let's see the bottoms of the screen. So on the bottom is very important parameter setting for different ventilation mode. The first one is the weight. So you can click the waist area, then adjust the body weight of the animal. Of course, you also can just click to select different ventilation mode just by click the ventilation mode and then click confirm. Then you already switch to the ventilation mode. Okay, so next let's take the VCv mode as an example, just to do the simulations of the to simulate the ventilations to the animals. So we are using the simulation menu bag to connect the Y-piece tube, just to show you about how the ventilation mode is working. So let's switch to the bottom to the mechanical ventilation part, and then use the O2 flash button to raise the barrel to the top of the barrel housing. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on the oxygen concentrator. Yep. To the top. And then we need to adjust the body weight of the animal. Let's assume the animal's body weight is 10 kilogram. Okay. After adjust the body weight, you can see the tidal volume and the minimum respiration rate will adjust automatically. I will adjust again. I will decrease to 5 to 6. Let you see, or to 500 grams, because the lowest tidal volume or lowest body weight can be supported by VETA is 500 grams. As you can see, the tidal volume and minimum respiration rate is adjusted automatically. So let's go back to 10. Okay, then we start cases. Click yes. So for the very beginning, you can see if there's no spontaneous breathing. Oh, sorry, I forgot to turn on the okay. So for the normal operations, for the very beginning, veterinary, they will adjust the vaporizer to 3%. Then adjust the gas flow to 3 liter per minute and wait for 3 minutes until the animal side achieve the preset anesthetic agent concentrations. Then they will just decrease the gas flow to below 1 liter per minute and adjust the vaporizer to 1.5 or 1.6%. Okay, now we can see on the screen the Vcv Mode already start the backup ventilations. So let me introduce about how the Vcv Mode working. So just like we see, at the very beginning, I need to adjust the body weight of the animal, and then the tidal volume and the minimum respiration rate will be adjusted automatically according to the animal's body weight. And after that, the Vcv ventilation mode will try to detect the animal's spontaneous breathing. If he detects the animal's spontaneous breathing, as I'm trying to show here, so you can see the purple color. The purple color means the spontaneous breathing of the animal is detected. Then the system will deliver the gas to the animal to help the animal to perform the spontaneous breathing, or to deliver gas to the animal. If there's no spontaneous breathing detected, after a certain time, the system will trigger the backup ventilation mode, just do the controlled ventilation to the animal. And as we can see on the screen, I will introduce those parameters one by one. So the first one is the pressure detected by the system. And here is the PIP detected by the system. As you can see, PIP here is 3. And here the PIP already turned off. Why? Because the barrel has the gravity. And the normal gravity of the barrel is around 3 centimeter H2O. So that's why the system can detect there's a PIP on 3. And here's the tidal volume detected by the systems. And here's the minimum volume detected by the system. And here's the respiration rate. So as you can see from here, the respiration rate detected by the system is higher than the minimum respiration rate preset by the system or by me, because the system detects there's the spontaneous breathing of the animal, so he plus the spontaneous breathing on the screen. So as we can see from here, so which means the minimum respiration rate is the lowest limit for the ventilation for the respiration rate set by the system. If there's the spontaneous breathing by the animal, the system will plus those spontaneous breathing on the minimum respiration rate. And on the setting of the ventilation mode, there's the trigger. Now we can see the trigger is auto. When you set the trigger to auto, which means the system will detect the animal's spontaneous breathing automatically and adjust the detecting limit by itself. Of course, you can select it to set it to the pressure trigger or flow trigger by yourself. But on the normal situations, we suggest to set it to auto. So this is for the Vcv ventilation mode. And next, I will introduce the Vcv mode. So for the Vcv mode is the same. You need to adjust the body weight, for example, to 10. And then the tidal volume and respiration rate will adjust. And as you can see, the difference between the VS mode and Vcv mode is the respiration rate. So on the VS mode is the minimum respiration rate, but on the Vcv is respiration rate. So which means under the Vcv mode, the system will just perform the control ventilation to deliver the gas to the animal. And then there's another parameters, I with E. So this is the ratio of inspiration and expirations. So normally we set to 1 to 2. And the PIP is off. We also can see the trigger here. So which means on VETA 5, Vcv also can detect the trigger from the animal. But he will just deliver the gas based on the preset respiration rate and I to E ratio. So let's start the ventilation on Vcv. So after you start the ventilations, as you can see here, the system will just deliver the gas based on the preset respiration rate. You can see the detected pressure, PIP pressure, tidal volume detected by the system, the minute volume, and the respiration rate. So now let's try to trigger. So when I try to simulate the spontaneous breathing of the animal, the system still can detect the spontaneous breathing from the animal, but he will just not like the VS mode. VS mode will just help the animal to do the spontaneous breathing, but the Vcv always send the preset tidal volume to the animal. Because I'm using the simulate back, so we cannot simulate the real situation here. Okay, this is the Vcv mode. Let's switch to Pcv mode. So on Pcv mode is the same. Set the body weight, then the pressure and the respiration rate will adjust according to the body weight. And is for the difference between Pcv and Vcv is Vcv need to set the tidal volume, but Pcv need to set the pressure. Of course, you can increase the pressure by itself. For example, I adjust to 15. Then the respiration rate, I to E ratio is the same as the Vcv mode. PIP is the same, trigger is the same. So now let's start the. So after you start the ventilation on the under the Pcv mode, the system will just send the preset pressure, use the preset pressure to deliver gas to the animals. So the respiration rate is the same as preset, but the tidal volume will be different, as you can see from here. The tidal volume is changing because I'm simulate the animal's spontaneous breathing. As you can see, even if there's the trigger of the spontaneous breathing, the system will still use the preset pressure to deliver gas to the animal. Yeah. And the respiration rate will pass the spontaneous breathing detected by the system. Okay. Then let's go to the SMV, the synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation mode. So the same body weight setting, and then the tidal volume will be preset by the system. Of course, there's one difference between the VCV, Pcv, and SMV, is that there is the T inspirations. So the inspiration time on SMV is preset by the system, or you can set it by yourself. So normally we keep it 1. And that's another one more parameters is the pressure support ventilation mode. So SMV will just like the VCV plus PSV ventilation mode. So it just like to combine those two modes together. And so you can have the assistant ventilation mode and the control ventilation mode. When the animal has the spontaneous breathing, the system will try to help the animal to perform the spontaneous breathing. If the animal has no ventilation spontaneous breathing, the system will just do the control ventilation to deliver gas to the animal. Okay, so let's start the ventilations. So if there's no spontaneous breathing detected from the animal, after a certain time, the system will just use the VCV ventilation mode to deliver the gas to the animal. Because there's no trigger, as you can see. After a certain time, just based on the respiration rate, the system will just try to deliver the gas to the animal. Yeah. Okay. Then let's try to simulate the spontaneous breathing of the animal. Okay, due to this, it's not the actual animal, so we cannot simulate the actual ventilations on the system. But anyway, that's all the instruction for the ventilation mode. And next, I will introduce how to use the inspiration hold. So let's switch it to Vcv mode. So under the Vcv mode or any other modes, if you want to perform the inspiration hold, you just need to hold it. Hold it. Then you can see inspiration hold active, and the gas will deliver to the animal as long as you pressed the inspiration hold. Yeah. After you release the button, then you just enter the normal ventilation mode. Okay. So that's all the instruction on the operation and the screen, and also the ventilation mode of the VETA. Thank you. Okay, next I will introduce the normal workflow on the VETA under the VS ventilation mode. So before we connect the VETA to the animal, before doing the intubations, so we can switch the button to the mechanical ventilation mode, and then to adjust the body weight, the same as animal's body weight. So after you adjust the body weight to the animal's body weight, just like 10 kilogram, the tidal volume, minimum respiration rate will adjust automatically based on the body weight of the animal. And for the PIP and trigger, you can just leave it as the system already set. After you finish the intubation, let's use the simulation bag to replace the animal. And you connect the Y-piece tube to the animal, adjust the vaporizer to 3%, increase the gas flow to 3 liters per minute. Then you click start case, and the system will just enter the VS ventilation mode. So you wait for 3 minutes to track the parameters just like the ECG, CO2, SpO2 on the monitor. If all those data is stable during the 3 minutes, then that means the animal already entered the anaesthetic status. Then you adjust the vaporizer to be lower, decrease the gas flow to lower than 1 liter per minute. Then observe the status of the animal. The same as we said before to track the ECG, SpO2 and CO2. If all those parameters stay stable for 1 or 2 minutes, that means the animal already entered the stable anaesthetic status. So now I will introduce about the setting for the rest mode. So rest mode, just like I explained before, is the smart ventilation mode. So if you set the trigger to auto, that means the system will detect if the animal has the spontaneous breathing or not. If there's no spontaneous breathing detected, the system will just start the backup ventilations. And I will just use the simulate menu back to simulate the animal's spontaneous breathing, just like we can see here. So the purple color is the spontaneous breathing detected by the rest mode. So when the spontaneous breathing detected by the system, he will just deliver the gas based on the preset tidal volume and also the respiration rate. And of course, after you adjust the trigger to auto, the inspiration time and expiration time will be decided by the animal itself. And let's see the parameter displayed on the screen one by one. So first is the pressure, PEEP, tidal volume detected by the system, the minimum volume, and the respiration rate. So as you can see here, if I simulate the spontaneous breathing of the animal, then the respiration rate will be higher than the minimum respiration rate. If there's no trigger, the backup ventilation started, the respiration rate is the same as the minimum respirations. So, under these situations, after you finished the surgery, before we just wean the animal from the anesthesia machine, we need to adjust the vaporizer to 0 and then increase the gas flow to higher gas flow, deliver more fast gas to the animal to eliminate the anesthetic agents inside the animal's alveoli. Then the animal will perform the spontaneous breathing by itself. So when you see the spontaneous breathing more and more on the screen, and it's already under the normal status of the animal, that means the animal can be weaning from the anesthesia machine. Then we adjust the gas flow to 0, and then we just take the Y-piece tube from the animal, plug it back to the Linkage Test plug, and end the cases. So you finished all the surgery and ventilation on the animal. Okay, next let me introduce those ventilation mode on VETA file one by one. So first, let's switch to the Vcv mode. The same as the VS mode, you need to adjust the body weight as the animal's body weight. So I adjust to 10 kilogram. Then you can see tidal volume and respiration rate on the Vcv mode will change according to animal's body weight. But there's difference between the VS mode and the Vcv mode. As I explained on the VS mode, the inspiration time and expiration time on the VS mode is controlled by animal itself. But on the Vcv mode, you need to set the ratio of the inspiration and expirations. But normally we'll just keep it as the 1 to 2. And PIP is off, trigger is set to auto. So let's start the cases. I also use the simulate back as the to simulate the animals. So under the Vcv mode, as we can see, the system will just deliver the gas by the preset tidal volume and the respirations. And the inspiration time and expiration time will just based on the preset I/E ratios. Of course, on the VETA side, Vcv also has the trigger functions. So we set it to auto, then you can just I use the simulation back to simulate the animals' breathing. So you can see if there's a spontaneous breathing detected, the color of the waveform will change to purple. But the inspiration time is based on the respiration rate and I/E ratio under the Vcv mode. It's different from the VS mode. Of course, if you want to adjust the trigger to pressure trigger or flow trigger, it's also okay. Okay. And the monitoring parameters on the screen is the same as the VS mode. Pressure PIP, tidal volume, millivolume, and respiration rate. So we can see the respiration rate changed if we has the spontaneous breathing trigger. Okay. Then let's switch to the Pcv mode. So on the Pcv mode, you also need to set the body weight of the animal. We adjust it to 10 kilogram as before. As you can see, only the respiration rate will adjust it based on the body weight of the animal. The pressure on the Pcv is preset by itself by the users. So you can set it to, let's take 15 as an example. And the I/E ratio is the same as the Vcv mode. You need to set it as well, but we can set it as the default value 1 to E. So which means under the Pcv mode, the inspiration time and expiration time is the same as the Vcv mode. It's controlled by the ventilators. PIP set to off, trigger also can set to auto. So we start the case. Let's see. So under the Pcv mode, the system will just deliver the preset, use the preset pressure to deliver the gas to the animal. Just like we can see from here, we set the pressure to 15, so the peak pressure is 15, right? If we adjust the pressure to 10, so the pressure will decrease to 10. Okay. And sometimes, for the tidal volume on the Pcv will change according to the airway resistance and also the compliance of the lung of the animals. So you can see that tidal volume is changing. So that's the difference between the Vcv and Pcv. Okay. Then we switch to SMV. So SMV, the full name of the SMV is synchronized intermittent mandatory ventilation mode. So the same, we need to adjust the body weight to 10. And then the tidal volume will adjust, and the tidal volume and respiration will adjust based on the body weight. But the difference between the SMV and Pcv Vcv is that SMV has tidal volume setting, respiration setting, and the pressure setting. And also here, we can set the inspiration time, but not the I/E ratios. So under the SMV, you can just check it like VCV plus PSV, and how does it perform by this way. So if there is no spontaneous breathing detected by the system will just use the preset tidal volume to deliver the gas to the animal, just like the VCV. Okay, let's see. So the status will just become stable after 7 to 9 breathing cycled. So we can see now the system is become stable. So the tidal volume will just almost the same as the preset tidal volume. And now I will simulate the animal's spontaneous breathing to see what happened. Okay. I will increase the pressure support to 10. As you can see, the purple color means the spontaneous breathing detected from the animal. So when the spontaneous breathing detected from the animal, the system will just use the preset pressure to send the gas to the animal to help the animal to do the spontaneous breathing. So, summarize. Under the SMV, if there's no spontaneous breathing detected, the system will just work as the VCV. And if there's the spontaneous breathing detected, then the system will just perform like the PSV, do the support ventilations. Okay, so that's all of the instruction of the VETA ventilation mode. Thank you guys.